Hello everyone, I'm Neetsel and welcome to this run of Garde by Bouzny. I'm joined by MixMyu on commentary.
Hello.
And Bouzny is going to show off this fantastic game in any percent on the hard difficulty since you unlock that. The main difference between hard and easy is mostly the amount of damage that enemies take, the amount of damage they deal, and also how fast you build up your special. So things will be a little bit trickier this way. So Bouzny, are you ready to go?
Completely ready.
All right, so you can give us a countdown.
Je suis difficile, so hard. And 124 FPS.
Yeah, the frame rate is pretty important since it allows us to do some really specific skip, especially in the fourth episode.
Okay.
So ready when you are.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, let's go.
And here we are. Welcome to Garde, where you play Adalia de Volador, a swashbuckling sword fighter, duelist, a bit of a disaster sometime, but also a very daring vigilante. She is your hero for the day, and right now she is fighting El Vigilante, who has stolen her sword from her to test her mental, so she can go against the Count Duke, the terrible ruler of this city. You are in Spain. Welcome. And now?
Yes. Yeah, so this game, it's really a beat them up, kind of similar to what you can find in games like the Batman Arkham games. It's a lot about crowd management and your position into the arenas. So you have two attacks. You have a simple basic attack that you can do, and you have also counters that you can do when you have a white circles appearing above the head of the enemies when they attack. So right now we're into the tutorial. Unfortunately, there's no way to skip it. We're just going to play this part properly.
It introduces a few enemies that you will see often, the lackeys, which are the weakest enemies basically, but also it introduces banter. There's a lot of banter in the game. You constantly talk with your enemies and provoke them, and they provoke you, and they complain at you when you beat them, because you do not kill in this game. You only ridicule your enemies. You try to just shame them into straightening their way.
Here we have a quick skip, so we're trying to do a double jump on that wall to avoid fighting these guys. Again, that's not something that the game expects you to do. It's really a fast strat that we do in the speedrun. We got through it, so that's nice. We gained a little bit of time. So here we have the soldier. So you might notice that there's a lot of information on top of the characters. You have like red gems, which are usually the health of enemies. A white bar that is like the stamina, something that tells you if they can still counter you. And then you have a red bar that is like the shield. And when that bar is filled, you just can attack them without expecting them to counter you.
Absolutely.
Don't worry, we have more chickens to pet.
Most important mechanic of the game. Also, you just saw one of the main mechanics of the fighting, which is the environment. You do throw things at your enemies a lot, you jump above things, and this tutorial introduces you to basically kicking crates at your enemies to stun them. And it's very useful.
Yeah, here we go. We have another chicken. All the way back from Arctic Oaks and Mount Everest, so that's pretty nice. It's warmer here, it's better. So the enemies, you have two types of attacks. You have the normal attacks that you can counter, the ones with the white circle, and you have like red attacks that you have to dodge. So those ones you can't counter at all. Here the goal is really to keep the enemies together, try to stun them so that you can just focus on one enemy at a time, because unlike a lot of games like the Spider-Man games or the Batman games, enemies will attack you together without waiting. So it's really about managing your position in the arena and your position near the characters.
Yes, you will find a lot of ways to optimize your fighting if you try to run. And the game itself is really full of interesting spots where you fight, where you can use a lot of things in your environment, in the decor and stuff. You might perceive that even in French, even though the game is in French right now, you will perceive a lot of overacting from the characters. They're all flamboyant, it's on purpose. It's the swashbuckling movie game, basically.
Yeah, so here the game introduced the mechanic of you kicking enemies. That's really important because you can kick enemies out of ledges, but you can also kick them like into items in the environment or off stairs, and that will build up like that red gauche that you can see below their health, which allows you to stun them and deal damage to them really fast. Here we're going to do jump into the water to teleport to the next room. Here we go.
Little shortcut. And now we group them and we try to send them to weapon racks and to the water the fastest as we can.
Yeah, we need to fulfill the condition from the tutorial. So what we try to do is, because if we don't fulfill the condition of the tutorial, the game will keep spawning enemies. So we try to do that in the first wave.
You see here and there a few little skips, jump and rolls, throwing items, and here we go. You don't wait for the end of the little dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue happening in the background of the game also sometimes. So if you do play the game, I invite you to really listen carefully. It is really fun. The atmosphere of the game is super light, super fun. It's slapstick comedy. It's commedia dell'arte inspired. It's the swashbuckling movie, the Zorro, the Three Musketeers, the Princess Bride also is a big reference for the devs. So I invite you to really pay attention when you play it to what's been said and how it's been said.
Yeah, and here you have a portrait of the main villain, who's actually based, like, there's a lot of inspiration on people who actually existed. We might have time later on to speak a little bit about the villain. Something to know as well about this game. So at first this was a student project, and actually you can play, like, the student prototype is available for free on itch.io, which is really fun because you can see the difference between the student project and the final game. The final game is obviously way better, but it's great to see how many elements were already there in the student project.
Yes, you can see all the potential that they transformed into a full game. You see all the ideas that stayed. It's a really fun archive to keep. I would recommend that. And yes, it was the first game of Fireplace Studio to make.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Here we are so dealing with still more enemies. So the game really over time start mixing up the different kind of enemies and really wants you to use the environment all of the time. It's not a game where you can just focus on just counter attacking enemies. It's that you have to actually make sure that you stun enemies to disable the AI for a little bit. Otherwise, you'll just get overwhelmed really fast.
Bouzny is making it look way easier than it is.
Yeah.
And also you can see a fun item to throw is the basket, the woven basket, which basically blinds your enemy for quite a long time if you don't attack them. So it's a good way to delay some stronger enemies until you can take care of them.
What's done is done. Good luck and don't think I didn't hear.
Here we go. The game introduces the special moves.
Yeah, the special moves of you have 3 of them. Will only use one throughout the run, so it uses half of your special gauge every time you activate one. And what it does is that usually will eat a huge chunk of that Y bar, which allows you to deal damage to enemies afterwards. Again, we are seeing how nice it is to chain actions in this game. It's like throwing that bucket on top of an enemy's head, then pushing him up the stairs. Bouzny could have pushed that guy into the weapon stack, but he wanted to keep it to use it against those ones. So it's a lot of resource management when you play this, which is a really nice change again from other games in this genre.
You do see a little bit of slow motion here and there when big either special hits from you are happening, or you're about to be hit by a big attack and are avoiding it by the tiniest hair.
Yeah, when you do a perfect parry, you build up like that red gauge on enemies, and as well you get this more slow-mo. It's not actually something that we try to do that much in the run, because it doesn't make us gain a lot of time. Here we have the first boss, so El Vigilante.
Vigilante, who is definitely not your brother, which is the subtitle you see under El Vigilante, but in French. So it's actually Alejandro, your brother, who is just testing you to make sure you're ready for your Robin Hood-esque adventures.
So yeah, every time you manage to remove a health point from the enemies, so from the boss, so the health points are the little red square. What will happen is that you'll have like additional enemies coming at you, which can be a bit tricky. Here we have Bouzny, who you just use the special, because using your special also gives you health back, which is a safety as well there, because you only had 1 health point, and also it allows us to get rid of the boss. So big escape in the game. We're just going to spam next episode. And we are playing on the 1.0 version of the game, and what that allows us to do is to completely skip 2 levels.
We skip basically 2 chapters of the game and went from the first to the last one, like that.
Yeah, I can't only imagine the devs realizing that they left a bug like this in the game. They fixed it since then, but I can imagine they might have been panicked when they realized that something that easy was present in the game.
Sorry for them.
Another teleportation.
Yep. And now we meet the duelist, the French character of the game, who's basically a musketeer, kind of, and does have a French accent even in the English version of the game. So it's pretty fun. Lots of accents actually in the game in all languages. Every time, most of your characters have Spanish accents, and this character has a French one.
Yeah, and pretty soon we're going to have a pretty important skip. We're going to do an airwalk. So the airwalk, you activate it by doing a double jump right before you grab a pole. So first we need to open the door, we're going to go back, and then we're going to activate that double jump right before reaching the pole, and we can just fly off throughout the whole stage.
Here we go.
Do we have time for a quick donation soon?
You can send a donation right now.
Awesome. So we've had love coming in already. For example, we have $10 from Babageno, who says, "Go, go, Bouzny." Thank you so much for your donation. And we also had $10 come in from Miss Scratch 1313, who says, "I've never seen On Garde in my life, but I need to purchase this immediately. Consider this me paying a finder's fee." Thanks so much for supporting Doctors Without Borders. And you're right, this game's amazing, hey? You're making it look great, Bouzny.
Do encourage everyone.
Again, Bouzny is really flying through this, but the game is really challenging. It's not a very long game. It's like on your first playthrough, you might take like 4 hours to complete this, but the final stage really throws a really intense combination of enemies. So these guys, we don't have to deal with them. We just run past them. And an enemy that we saw earlier that this level introduced, the duelist, has a really specific mechanic based on the yellow bar. The yellow bar, the idea is that you have to focus on that guy all of the time. Right here, we're just going to regroup all the items that we can, as many items as we can in the middle of the arena, because we're going to have a lot of enemies coming up.
Yep, and we get the lantern so that we can get rid of a special enemy, which is the grenadier, which are the old ladies with grenades. So you just set them on fire and they explode by themselves. They have too many explosives on them. Another fun decor item is the cauldron, which you just throw a grenade at it, it shoots up in the sky, and then will fall back on your closest enemy. So here it was the duelist, so that we don't have to fight him, but it's really, as I said, slapstick comedy even during the combat. Right now, we're actually trying to free our brother who has been captured. He was our informant that there was a treasure on this island, which is made of the bribes and money stolen by the terrible Count Duke. Here we have the captain, which is also another very strong enemy. Oh, and the cauldron fell on another enemy, sadly. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll deal with the captain. So really, like we explained earlier, it's really about managing your position, and that's really the main goal with this speedrun. You have really items that you need to use on specific enemies to gain as much time as possible.
Absolutely. And the use of special attacks allows you to do a few skips here and there to gain some time. And now that
Also, we always try to stay near the exit of the arena when we battle enemies, just to be able to get away from the arena as fast as possible. This is probably one of the most difficult fights when you play casually, because you have 3 duelists, and the idea with the duelists, you have this yellow bar, and the yellow bar, the idea is that it behaves like the white bar, except it will replenish itself if you stop attacking that specific enemy. So
yes,
you really have to focus them all of the time.
Another very frustrating mechanic with them is that if you don't do the right parry or dodge, depending on the attack they do towards you, they will recharge the stamina instantly. So if you don't parry when you should, it could lead to the fight lasting much longer. And here we have El Vigilante again, totally not your brother. We jump in the water to charge the next zone, and here we are.
Yeah. Also, this game, I think this game is on Switch and on many platforms. It's not a heavy game, so that's really nice. It's a great game to play in handheld. Here we're going to have a little bit of a boss rush. It's like we're going to fight all of the bosses that we had before in the game. So we skipped 2 levels, but you'll see the bosses from stage 3.
Yes. So we fight El Vigilante again, so still not your brother, who's this time, he's fighting you because he does want to be the hero this time. It was his idea after all. And you're like, you're gonna hurt yourself, so I'm gonna hurt you first.
Yeah, I don't think the brother is based on the historical figure.
Not really.
But the main character actually is.
Yes.
It's like the main character is based on Julie d'Aubigny.
Julie d'Aubigny, or also known as La Maupin or Mademoiselle Maupin, was a French opera singer, infamous duelist, and also well known for being a bisexual icon, because she did try to escape with her lover from a convent, and was condemned for her conspiracy to basically use a dead nun's body, hide it in her lover's bed, then set fire to the bed, and then escape. So that kind of historical character. If you think Adalia Devorador is a bit flamboyant, her historical counterpart is much more. And here we meet Zaida, who is basically her crush, and they spend their time flirting and dueling, which accounts as flirting for them. So yeah, you do have a very strong basis on Julie d'Aubigny.
So yeah, right here we are fighting her mostly because, well, she's involved in this mostly for personal gain. She doesn't like the Duke, so the Count Duke, the main villain. But she would rather just steal all of his money rather than just stop his plan. So that's why we are fighting her right now.
So they do agree that Count Duke is a terrible person and a terrible ruler that should be stopped, but they never agree on how to stop him, so they keep fighting every time.
And that's it for our fight with Zaida.
That's it.
So coming up soon, we're going to have one of the reasons why we run this game in 144 FPS. As you'll see, we have a little trick that's called the zip step.
Yep.
that allows us just to make super high jumps and go really, really high. If your frame rate is higher than that, you apply even higher.
Yes.
So the community agreed on going for 144 as the right balance.
Yes, apparently the saying is true. The higher the frame rate, the higher you fly. So,
Gosh, soggy boots are the worst.
Quick teleportation again by throwing yourself in the ground. And here we
here we
go. We have the
go.
Z step.
I admire your
whee!
persistence.
And we skip a big part of the level that way.
Yes. Much turns and twists skipped, and we are back with a duelist.
Yeah, so again, as you saw, we stun that elite soldier just to make sure that we can deal with the duelist. Again, it's really the main focus of this game. It's like trying to disable the various enemies just to make sure that you have time to focus on getting rid of the harder guys.
There you are. So how?
Right now, Zaida is now helping you find the treasure room, in which
Another little skip by just doing jumps. It's mostly collisions that allows us to do this, and we are introduced to new items that we can use, which are the cannons.
fly on the hole, and there you go. And you can use them during fights, and you will see one in use very soon.
So yeah, right now we are really in the final stretch of the game. It's a pretty fun level. It's like the narration in the level is really fun to look at because it uses a lot of the environments, and you get like the whole plan of the villain explained throughout the environment. Also, a lot of these paintings of like the main villain are actually based on real paintings of
the real
the
historical character it's based on.
Yeah.
So there are paintings by Velázquez, by Diego Velázquez, of the Count Duke de Olivares, whose his real name, historical, was Gaspar de Guzmán y Pimentel Ribera y Velasco de Tovar, Count de Olivares and Duke de Sanlúcar la Mayor. And he was basically a favorite of the royal king of Spain, Philip IV, and he became a prime minister. He was well known for his kind of warmongering. Basically, he went back on peace treaties with his neighbors all the time because he wanted to restore Spain to its former glory that he felt it had lost. And due to that, he did have to raise a lot of war taxation. And so he met disaster abroad in war because he didn't manage to have a lot of victories, and also revolts and rebellions locally, domestically, especially from Catalonia y Portugal. So, you know, and all his paintings are really heavily referenced in the game. When you see them, and if you've seen the real paintings, you're like, oh yeah, they're not being subtle with this, which is quite fun, to be fair. Of course, the historical character is more subtle than the counterpart in the game, who is just a really cartoonishly evil villain. But in this case, yes, the historical counterpart is also a very interesting character.
So yeah, we are nearing the end of the run. So this arena, these last couple of arenas are really among the hardest one, especially when you play casually. Bouzny is just flying through them because he knows exactly which enemies to focus, which items to use. So it makes things a lot easier. When you play casually, it's really the main way that you have to play this game. It's really like a puzzle, like figuring out, all right, I should use this on this guy, that thing on that other guy, and so on. So it's a super fun game to play through casually.
Yes, and also I like that all the kind of platforming parts of it, when you just move from areas to areas, there are a lot of little platforming puzzles where you have to find your way through buildings and the city roofs and stuff. It's really super fun. You do pick a lot on nice landscapes and also fun little movements in general. I really like the movement mechanism of the game. It's very fluid, it's very fun, to be fair.
You'll regret this.
Here we go.
All right,
See
so
one of the portraits? There.
yeah, again,
Count Duke.
these portraits.
So Count
And
Duke
I-
is a title you can get if you're a Count and a Duke.
Yeah, here we are doing a quick skip, like that jump. Usually the game wants you to go forward, but you can actually just jump towards the exit right away.
You don't have to.
I like also the fact that you can skip some of the fights. Like you don't have to defeat absolutely every enemy. It's not just room combat, corridor, and so on. It's like you can get a bit creative when you're playing. And this is the final combat room, the hardest one in the game.
Where
So
you
we're
have
going to fight the Duke, and every time we'll remove a half point from him, we'll have additional enemies coming at us.
Don't expect mercy.
here we have the Count Duke that for in the run it's the first time you face him, but you actually have to face him in chapter 2, also before that. So just because we skip it doesn't mean we don't know him.
Yeah, here we put some wine on the floor so that causes enemies to fall on. That makes enemies slip on the ground. So again, we only have 2 health points. There's no invincibility period on the character, so you can die really fast. So we need to be super careful.
Yes, this is why the game is pretty challenging, is you don't have much life, especially in hard mode, you have even less life. And so you do have to be very careful, because even your own little traps of the environment can hurt you, like explosions can hurt you. So be very careful with that.
Yeah, and right here, it's like Bouzny is trying to gain time by focusing Count Duke, but doing that as well increases the difficulty of the fight because you have more enemies to deal with. Casually, usually you just focus on the smaller guys first and then on the Duke, just to make sure that the place doesn't get overcrowded because there's not much room in this section.
Absolutely, and especially during this fight, every time you do make the Count lose 1 health point, that are the little flowers under his name, new enemies come in. There are more soldiers coming in every time you make him lose a health point. So you do have to be very careful.
Okay, so his guard is broken. When you see that broken shield, it means that you can spam him and he won't be able to counter you. So that's really what we are trying to do as much as possible. In the final phase, he can still counter you in that section. It's a little surprise that the game likes to throw at you.
Yes. Every health point.
Okay, we're almost through.
Yes.
Almost got rid of him.
There we go.
And here we go.
Shall we say?
The game is challenging, but it's also very generous with the save points and the fact that, yes, you are able to do a lot of things like that. And here we are, the last standoff. Count Duke.
Yeah, so this section, he'll talk to you to death.
Basically, yes. He's exposing his great big
So
plan.
you can just hear him talk forever, or you can just, well, you'll see what we're going to do with him. So.
You okay?
If you want a nice history tidbit,
Chad, should we blow him up or
because,
not?
yes, and meanwhile, I have to read you a quote about the real Count Duke of Olivares, who was described as extravagant, outsized personality with a gift for endless self-dramatization.
I think you can blow him up.
Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Here we go. And that's time once we have the screen transition, I think.
Time.
Here we go. Time.
Not getting paid.
Well, very good, Ron.
What do we do now, Capitan?
At last fight,
Yes.
it was cooperative.
Someone sitting on my hand.
Silence.
Good job, you
My
did.
chicken.
This is all
Yeah, you did really
Amazing.
well.
Yeah, that was a really good run. Do any of you have any final shout-outs? Let us know where we can find you, all of that fun stuff.
You think you're
I will say a big thank you to my two commentators. They allowed me to concentrate to my run, as I'm not very good in English.
Did you tell me you'd be on this
Perfect,
island?
thank you very much.
Have come with
Thanks to Anne and Azer, who make the commentate in the French stream. Shout out to the French stream. And thanks everyone who donate during this run. Thanks GDQ to allow me to show this game. And finally, I would say, gardez la pêche, faites-vous et bourrez les dos.
Are you asking for a rematch?
So yeah, shout out to every restream out there. We do a lot of commentary on the French restream ourselves, so it's always nice to give a shout out to the German, Japanese, and other restreams that we might have.
Yes, they do a very great job and time-consuming one to support also GDQ on their end to make it more accessible. So yes, thank you all.